Afternoon, good evening. I hope everyone's having a good day. Today I have an interview with the Big Bald Azure Guy. I'm waiting for him to hop in. He's currently doing something right now. But besides that, I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Before I do anything, let me do my video intro, as I always do that. Just give me a second. All right. I hope everyone's having a good day. Just trying to join right now, so just give me a second. Give him the link again. Should be that one. All right. I got my coffee over here, with my Batman cup. Um, ready to chop it up and talk about his career in IT and how he got started in IT and just finding useful information and picking his brain a little bit, right? It's usually what I do with everybody that I interview. So he's trying to join right now, so just bear with us. Just waiting for him. I'm checking the comments. I hope everyone's having a good day. Yo, hey Mike, hey yo, Gary, hi Gary. Just waiting for him to join. There he is. I was like, where? I'm like, where the heck is he? Give me a second. There we go.
Dude, it was the weirdest thing, man. Firefox. I usually use Firefox. Firefox would not work with Mail.
Why would you use Firefox out of everything?
No, I've got, you know what it is? I got no choice sometimes because some of my apps at work. So I got Firefox, Chrome, Edge. I mean, it's at least Chrome works, it seems. So
at least it's not Internet Explorer.
Dude, don't even get me started on that. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I got coffee, so I needed that coffee to wake me up.
I got my my vampire blood here. So
awesome, man. So the way I do it here is I usually just do like a regular interview.
Yeah.
So I'm just like I guess when you go to the job interview, you know how you go to the job interview and they tell me about yourself. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I dude, I have no problem doing that kind of stuff. It's easy.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about you and what you do and how you got started.
Are we live already?
Yes, we're live.
No, man. Well, my name is Corey Knapp. I am also known as the Big Bald Azure Guy. I have been doing IT for a little over 25 years. I work as a principal cloud architect and cloud evangelist at Trace3. So my job over there is working with all kinds of cloud partners, trying to figure out what the best third-party partnership is with Azure, AWS, GCP. So I work with DevOps solutions, security solutions, things like that. But I've been doing this, like I said, 25 years. I've been doing training. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. I hold multiple Azure certifications. Some of you guys may have seen me doing my some of my previous training at some of the big three training providers, as well as over on Cloud Skills, who got purchased by INE. I've done PowerShell, Azure Essentials, and I'm currently in the process of releasing a completely free course on YouTube, all the Azure fundamentals you need to know, prerequisites before going in the cloud, as well as when that's done, I'm going to be teaching a combination AZ900, AZ104 class to kind of get people up to speed as to what they really need to know to succeed in a cloud career.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. So I guess what motivated you or I guess pushed you to started in the cloud anyway?
It's funny. I mean, I started off like most of us, Helpdesk. I mean, I've been doing this, like I said, 25 years since 1997. Jeez. But did my Helpdesk, worked my way up, systems admin, systems engineer. And I started to see the writing on the wall. I had an offer to come out and work with a guy out in California. I've been all over the country, West Coast, East Coast. I'm a Jersey boy at heart, but I live currently in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. But he's like, hey, I want to bring you on board here. I want you to start being an Azure engineer. I'm like, okay. I mean, but I was of the opinion back in the day when I used to hire people, when I used to do work, certifications didn't mean anything 20 years ago. It was who could brain dump the fastest, who could do things the fastest. And it didn't really hold much weight for me. He's like, well, I can't bring you on board if you're not going to get certified. And I'm like, all right, whatever. It was 8, 9 years ago. And then I started seeing changes in the Microsoft and AWS and GCP environments, how certifications have become a benchmark to what you have to do. So I started training up. I became a trainer. I've had more certs now in the past 5 years than I ever had my previous 20 years of career. But like I said, certifications aren't everything. So I started working off in an O365 fashion. I recommend people looking at Helpdesk in the cloud, start off with Office 365 or Microsoft 365 now. It's just, it's one of those things, and I worked my way up to an administrator, an engineer, and now an architect. But the cloud is, look at it this way, folks, it's simply somebody else's data center hosting your stuff. Everything you can do locally, and Helpdesk, like Kevin, man, you do a lot of awesome Helpdesk stuff, a lot of systems admin stuff. I'm really a big fan of your stuff. What people don't realize is that 98% of those skills are transferable to the cloud. It doesn't matter where you work. So whether you want to be on-prem or a cloud Helpdesk guy or move up to engineer or architect is easy to do.
No, definitely. And I definitely agree with that. Obviously, some people are scared to work at Helpdesk, which I don't like. I like Helpdesk, but people hate Helpdesk for some reason. I don't know why. It's a bad rep. When you think about
it's funny. I mean, I hear you say how much you love Helpdesk, and I look back now and sit there and say, why did I work? But when I worked Helpdesk, I loved it. I absolutely. Once you get above and beyond, you like what you do, and you still like what you do. It's great, but you still look back fondly. You can learn more in 6 months of Helpdesk on the job than you can ever learn studying, than you can ever learn on the job as an engineer, because you see so many different things every single day.
No, I agree with you. It's just that's one thing, and the other thing is when you're working with somebody from another department and you guys are just like stuck trying to fix an issue you've never seen in your life before, and then you fix it. You spend like 3 hours trying to fix that problem, and you finally figure it out. Oh yeah, I figured it out. I know what it is now. And then you fix it, and you just tap yourself in the shoulder. Man, I fixed that. I fixed that issue. I didn't know I didn't know what I did, but somehow it worked. So,
and that's a good thing to have throughout your career. I mean, always be willing to take on new roles, new responsibilities, new knowledge, constantly scale up, constantly level up. Like I had to learn about containers and serverless, Kubernetes, Docker, all that stuff a couple of years ago. I had no clue walking into it. I'm like, okay, well, serverless is the new thing. Well, no, now it's huge. And when I finally figured it out, it was like, you know what? You're right. A little pat on the back. You feel great doing that stuff.
Yeah. And the thing I tell people too is to don't be afraid to grab the hard tickets in the queue. Like if you see a ticket in the queue and it's extremely hard, and sometimes people don't want to grab the ticket in the queue. People look at it, they leave it in the queue. It's there for 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then no one wants to grab it because they're scared of that ticket, or they see an error message like, man, God, I don't know how to fix this issue. This is a weird issue. I don't know if I should grab that ticket. So.
And the other thing is, I mean, when you grab those tickets, you'll learn a lot, but also too, don't be afraid if you don't know to ask for help. I can't count the number of times I've seen people over the years they will work a problem to death and they're behind schedule because they don't grasp something. If you can go ask the person sitting next to you or go ask your manager for help, you won't forget you won't forget how to fix that problem next time either. You'll be even faster. So make sure you grasp that knowledge, make sure you reach out for it. And when you get it, man, just take advantage of it.
Yeah, that's the thing with people that I work with or that I train or I help. I tell them that if you see a ticket, you should take ownership of it and see to it through the end. So like, if you're gonna work with an issue, take care of it. Take ownership of the issue. And then the thing is also is put good documentation and good writing as to how you resolve it, because when you're resolving an issue, sometimes you work with techs that they're very sloppy with their documentation. And then you don't know how they fixed it, and that becomes a problem. So then nobody else on the team could fix it. So
documentation is key. It's funny. One of the first jobs I had was building out server farms for the Navy and Marine Corps on the West Coast. And the one thing I did learn working for a government contractor, and especially with the military, you have to have all your documentation in order to get approvals, to get permits, to get, you name it. And that's one thing that has actually worked out very well for me over the years, is having really good run books, really good documentation, as-built documentation, especially as a trainer and teaching other people as well. When I can sit there and produce a document that shows you step-by-step how to do something with screenshots, with step-by-step, click-by-click information, it really goes a long way.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely does, and that's why I always encourage people to like enroll for a ticketing system, whether it's Spiceworks or Jira or I guess ServiceNow, any of those ticketing systems. But one of my questions I wanted to ask you is because you're in IT right now and you've been in IT for a really long time. I every person that I invite on my interview or I invite on YouTube to do an interview with me, I always learn something from them no matter who it is, because I don't care who it is. I like to learn something from each individual person. That's my mindset.
Same here.
That's my mindset. One thing is, I don't care how old you are. I like to learn from you because I know you have something you could give me as a benefit to help me out. And then we could both like throw ideas at each other and help each other out. So one thing for me is I like to ask you is, what is your advice for someone that is brand new to IT and they want to get started in tech?
Jump in. Bottom line is there's nothing holding you back. I mean, it's a little harder to get. Let's put it this way. Yes, you have to have either a laptop or a desktop or some way on the internet. You can even go to the local library and do this stuff to learn it. I'm actually producing a video now on how to get your first Azure cloud certificate for free. All the training is out there. You take a Microsoft sponsored course, you get a free voucher to take the certification test. It just takes time. Have a plan, sit down, work out with the people you're involved with, whether it's your loved ones, your family members, your husband, your wife, your kids, your dog, your coworkers, your manager. Tell them what you're going after and tell them why you're going after things. And you're going to have to do certain things to meet that goal. So I like to sit there and say Microsoft Learn has a really, really good, it's mostly documentation, but there is quite a few videos in there. They have a GitHub repo that goes along with the Microsoft Learn site that allows you to lab everything. Take advantage of the free trials that are out there from companies like Pluralsight or INE or A Cloud Guru. I recommend taking advantage of those to the utmost. You want to spend money on them per month? Great, that's fine, but you don't have to. But the biggest thing for me is jump in. Set up a free Azure account so you can go in, you get $100 per month of credit that you can set a budget on and say, okay, I don't want to go over $100. And once you hit that limit of credit, it turns everything off. $100 should be more than enough for most study purposes. But the biggest thing I can tell you is don't let anything stop you. Go after what you want. I have taught people who have been former SWAT officers, former truck drivers. They're now DevOps engineers. I mean, and I see no reason why anything should stop anybody anymore. You can hop on your local laptop at the local YMCA or the library, and you can study that way. It's tough, but I mean, as long as you have a plan to do things, you can do it.
Definitely agree with you. I tell people don't be afraid to dive in. I have trained a lot of people in IT, and when you're brand new, a couple of things when you're brand new. One is to just go and do it. The other thing is don't be afraid of rejection, which I always talk about whether it's applying for a job and not getting called back and getting the rejection emails and stuff like that. So don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid, and it's just a mental mindset thing. Are you willing to do it? Like, are you going to do it? Are you going to put in the work? It goes back to the individual person themselves. I can't really. What's that saying? I could make you drink. I can't force you to drink water. So I can't grab and make you drink water. I just can't do that. So it goes entirely back to you and what you do. So, so tell me a little bit about I guess like someone's brand new. You tell them to dive in and everything, but tell me like what are some good foundational certs that you think you would be best for someone that's brand new? That's like, man, I don't know nothing about IT.
Strictly for IT, or are we talking cloud?
IT, just IT. Someone that's brand new from scratch.
Obviously, I mean, the things to look into are, and they're great, is the CompTIA certs. You're looking at the A+, the Network Plus. I would even recommend something like the Linux Foundations, the LPIC for your LPIC 1 and LPIC 2 for your Linux Foundation certifications. especially in cloud and even now in data centers on-prem. I think in cloud, it's 87% of servers that are out there in the cloud, or even the backbone of the cloud, is programmed or hosted on Linux, whether it's Amazon Linux, whether it's Ubuntu, whether it's Red Hat Enterprise Linux, you name it. I've been a Microsoft guy since before Windows existed. I was Microsoft DOS. I mean, I go back to MS-DOS 3.0. I mean, I had the old 8-inch disk drives and the needed tape drives, 100-pound monitor, keyboard, monochrome. I used to play ASCII Pac-Man in black and green. I mean, so I'm old school. But you definitely want to learn foundational things. The biggest things to me are networking, basic security. What's a database? You don't have to be if you don't want to be a database guy, great. You don't have to, but you should know what a database is. Hardware and software, especially in Helpdesk. How to fix those things. Go through, get your Windows 10 and Windows 11 certificates. Go take a class in A+. I'm not sure. Do they even offer Server Plus anymore? Probably not. But
it's there. It's there.
Is it there? Oh, it's there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But especially for foundations, I tell everybody who's looking to get into cloud or IT in general, you have to have a strong foundation. What if you built a house and only 3 out of the 4 pillars for the foundation were there? It's going to fall over eventually. You've got to make sure that you're strong in those areas like networking. You've got to know subnetting. I can't count the number of times I've seen people trying to jump into cloud and they've got to set up an IP subnet for their virtual network. Well, and I'm telling them, okay, do a 192.168.1.0/16. Well, what's 16? How many IP? You don't know how many IP addresses that is, what ones are reserved. And it's not hard. There's a lot of free materials out there if you don't want to spend the time going through a structured course. To begin with, go out on YouTube. Kevin, you teach a lot of stuff out there, man. Guys like you, guys like Zach over IT Career Questions, guys like the Bearded IT Dad. On the Azure side, you've got John Saville, you've got Azure Academy. There are so many free resources out there. Hey, hint, look at mine next week when it comes out. But I mean, and that's the thing. There's any good content creator, any good Microsoft certified trainer, any good IT mentor will welcome questions. It may take me a day or two to get back to you because we all have day jobs. We all have things to do. I recommend reaching out to people. Reach out to them through LinkedIn. Comment on their YouTube videos. Guys like Mike Myers, guys like Professor Messer. Those guys will always respond back to you. And they are some of the OGs of teaching. You know what I mean? They've been doing this for 20, 30 years in some cases. But we all are in this for the same reason. We love what we do. We're passionate about it. We want to teach others. We don't want others to struggle like we have. Like I didn't have a mentor growing up in my career. I had to learn it on my own. I'm sure you had to learn a lot of stuff on your own as well. So you want to make this, I want to see the next generation of cloud people, of IT people, really have a leg up on what we did, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you on that. And I also agree with you on fundamentals. Like I always tell people to learn fundamentals, especially if you're going to get into cloud or cybersecurity or any type of job in general. One is fundamentals. And then the second thing is, and I'm going to go back to this. Some people, it depends on the job, but soft skills is very important. You have to know how to talk to people. You got to know how to do that, because if you don't know how to do that, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to be in the world of trouble. You have no idea how many times I work support with executives, with people that make a lot of money in the company, and they work with me and they like me, but then we bring somebody else and the other person's too damn technical. I'm like, man, I don't understand what you're saying. I just want to know if it works. That's all I care about.
You have to know how to explain things to people on very technical levels. You may deal with an engineer who wants to dive deep with you for 30 minutes as to what the problem was. You may be dealing with a manager of a janitorial department. You may be dealing with a C-level executive who runs a business like nobody else, but doesn't have a clue about his computer other than he wants it to work. So you have to have, you're right, those soft skills are really key. Presentation skills, confidence. I tell everybody, I used to be the shy little fat kid in the corner. I mean, I was 5'1" till my sophomore year in high school. Now I'm 6 foot. I mean, I grew all of a sudden really fast. But I was the little kid who didn't never spoke up, and I developed confidence. And over the years, I mean, I credit my wife a lot with that too. She's the North Jersey Italian girl, so I got a lot of confidence from hers too because it rubbed off on me. But it's funny. I mean, now you can't shut me up most of the time. But I was very timid. And the first large presentation I had to do, I worked for one of the largest veterinary hospitals in the country. I was brought in as their IT manager after a couple of years as an engineer. And, as an engineer, you do some stuff here and there. You do some stuff at Helpdesk. But presenting is very different in front of 2 people compared to 150 PhDs. And I sat there, I said, you know what? They're just like me. They don't understand what I'm talking about. I don't understand what they're talking about. But I can find a common ground. They want this to work. They want the way they want it to work. They want to understand how it works. And I just rolled with it. I had a lot of fun. I recommend if you find a mentor, do some role play with them. Have your mentor be the pain in the butt customer who you hate dealing with, whether it's as a client of your help desk or a client of your company. I put all my engineers through this. I will be a pain in the butt customer. I want an entire Azure Virtual Desktop system set up from soup to nuts. I would talk about pricing. I talk about governance. I fight back with them. And I expect them to get stumped, because if they don't get stumped, they're not going to learn anything. And it's these are little things you have to build upon that to help you grow your career.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that as well. Yeah, so you have to do practice. Don't be afraid to practice. Don't be afraid to.
Yeah.
As I say, don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone. It's very important to get out of your comfort zone. Even if you're not comfortable, just get out of your comfort zone. See what happens. You never know.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's one thing. And then the other thing is learning how to make things, how to break something down in a non-tech way. Because I've been in a situation like that where one of my first jobs in IT, I was helping an executive, and he's like, all I care is if this works. That's all I care about. I don't want to hear this technical mumbo jumbo crap. I just want to know if it works. That's it.
Yep.
Like I got an email I need to send out. I got meetings I gotta go to. My computer's not working. I just want to know if it works. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
And they asked the guy that was helping him. They asked him to just leave. Like, I'm gonna ask you to leave because I don't understand what you're saying. They kicked him out of the room. I'm like, man, I've never seen that before, because I work with executives. I had never seen that before. They kicked the guy out because the guy was too technical. We want somebody else that knows how to explain something in a non-tech way. So it happens a lot in IT, by the way. Just unfortunately, like you have to know how to talk to people. You can't avoid that in IT, especially when we're talking about cybersecurity, right, and risk and compliance, and I actually spoke about this like literally like yesterday. When you're talking to somebody in cybersecurity and you're talking to your CTO and your IT director, right? And you're like, okay, why are we spending money on this? How's that going to save money in our company? How's that going to save money for a vulnerability or hack or an attack? I like to know what's it going to do to our company and why are we doing this? So you have to know how to break that down in a non-tech way, because they want to know what they're investing their money on. So that's something that's very, very important, especially when it comes to budgeting and money and all those good things. So
yeah, you've got to know how to say, okay, if this is a financial person I'm talking to, they want to know return on investment. They want to know, okay, give me an idea what the security posture is, but they don't want to know all the nuts and bolts of how the thing works. They want to know what the end result's going to be and how long the process will take to get there. You know what I mean? They want to know, and that's the thing. It's a learned skill. You can't just jump in knowing this stuff. And that's why I always encourage people to work in teams. We've got a couple of young folks on our team now who are just starting out. I mean, that they ask questions all the time, which is great. But like I said, it's one of those things that you just learn on the fly. I mean, it's how well do you adapt? I mean, think about it, especially in Helpdesk, how much do you have to adapt on a daily basis? I mean, I could bring up your favorite thing in the world, man, like printers. I mean, come on, man. I had horror stories going back 2 decades about printers. I still have horror stories in my house about printers. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, oh, man, he said printers, but yeah, that's what it is with Helpdesk. It's just you're dealing with printers and other issues. But one thing you mentioned that I forgot to mention as well. You mentioned is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very important, guys, and I'm pretty sure you want to chime in on this. So, what are your thoughts on LinkedIn?
Let me put it this way, and I'll mention Dakota as well, our bearded IT dad. I mean, because he quoted me in his latest short. It's not just what you know, it's who you know. My last 3 roles have come through word of mouth through LinkedIn. My previous 2 roles came from applications on LinkedIn. I recommend you reach out. I tell anybody starting out on LinkedIn, try in your first month to connect to 250 people. And I'm not just talking coworkers. You could be in college. Reach out to people in your field who are seen as experts. Like I said, and if you're afraid they won't ask you or won't accept your invite, write them a quick note and say, hey, you're getting into the field. You want to connect. You want to learn from them. That way, or at the very least, just follow them. That way you can get really good daily advice, horror stories from people, what they've been through. Look at guys like Cybersecurity Warrior. He had the IT, he had the Cyber Queens on the other day. Great stream he did. Learning some of the stuff that they've been through. LinkedIn is now become the 2020s version of a resume. It is a digital format. You need to put all your certificates on there. You need to put your jobs on there, what your responsibilities are. But more so, it's a personal brand. You want people to know who you are, what you're into professionally. Now, I tell everybody, it's not like Facebook. It's not like Twitter. You don't put personal stuff up there. Some people still do. You got to kind of filter that stuff out. But for the most part, it's very professional. So I encourage people to, if you're doing a 30 or 100-day IT or cloud challenge, to learn more. Use it as a daily blog. Write 2-3 paragraphs as to what you're learning. In addition to LinkedIn, create a GitHub repo to post things that you've learned, post things that you're using as for repeatable content, or even just notes that you're taking. And then on top of that, you've got your LinkedIn, you've got your GitHub. And I also recommend everybody, like I said, LinkedIn, do a blog if you're learning something new. Get a free Medium blog and once or twice a week, blog something about what you learned about or what you did in that day and how you learned something from that experience.
I was going to say that very good points there. I appreciate you mentioning that for LinkedIn. One thing I mentioned, or one thing I teach with my students, because I train students, is if there's a job that you want and you see a job posting and you want to find out more information about that job, usually what I tell people to do is I want you to add somebody. I want you to add somebody from that job, not the manager, but add someone that works in that job, invite them for a cup of coffee and find out more about that job and see see how that environment is. Is it a good environment? Is it a bad environment? Is it toxic? How are the employees? How are the people in the company? So that's like one hack trick I teach my students is to reach out to somebody in that company that already has a job that you already want or you want to have, if that makes sense. And then you find out more information about that job. That's a hack trick. So basically, instead of you going into a job and you're blind, going in there blind, you know nothing about the company. Instead, you reach out to someone that's already in that company. So
that's the other thing. I mean, people don't do enough research prior to an interview. Obviously, it is important, and I like that little hack. It's a good idea. I hadn't thought about doing that. But go on Glassdoor. Now, granted, Glassdoor can be a little jaded sometimes. Sometimes they encourage their employees to post positive reviews, and they skew the ratings. But you can tell. Look at some of the unhappy reviews. See why people are unhappy. If it's just 1 out of 100, it's just an upset employee. If it's pretty common, 20 or 30 out of 100 that are negative, maybe there's something to it. When there's smoke, there's fire. But when you're going to an interview, I was telling our friend Caleb, Bad Panda Tech, he had an interview the other day. And I said, make sure you do your research first. Have some questions for the interviewer. Do your research about the company. How long have they been in existence? Can you get an idea of what their financials are? Are they healthy? How many employees do they have? What's their 6, 12, and 18-month plan as a company, not just in your sector of IT for a small company, but as a company overall? It shows the interviewer that you have invested your time as much as they've invested their time. And a lot of times they'll get a kick out of that, saying, you know what, this guy came prepared. And that'll give you a leg up too in the interview process.
Yeah, that was one of my interview questions. So one of my interview questions, I asked one of the hiring managers, and he looked at me like I'm crazy. He's like, I didn't expect you to say that. He's like, I asked him, how well prepared was your company during the pandemic? Did you have to let people go, or were you prepared for everything? That was one of my interview questions. Like, man, I didn't expect you to ask me that question. What the heck? Yeah. So
and it should drag current events into it. I mean, if you're working, like I used to work for Big Energy and Gasoline in the South for a couple of years. If you're going to work, I don't care if you're IT or you're going sales, say you're going to apply for Mobil, Exxon, whoever. Hey, how's the Ukrainian crisis affecting your gas sales distribution? I mean, come up with something along those lines. I mean, but if it's like for us, like pandemic was huge for us because I've been remote most of the past 10 years. So COVID didn't affect me in any way. But a lot of people went 100% remote overnight. And especially on the help desk or admin side, think about it, man. You guys had to learn all new ways of doing your jobs during COVID.
Mhm.
Because a lot of people were never ever remote. You were troubleshooting things remotely that you never had to in your life. Printers remotely.
But yeah, that's basically what. Yeah, basically, I like to ask these weird questions to hiring managers, and one of them was like I said, like how well versed or well prepared your company was during the pandemic, or even now, you could even ask that question now because we're now in a recession, right? So, are you guys letting people go, or is the company okay? Stuff like that, and that's one of my questions I like to ask. And then the other question I like to ask during an interview, what are my expectations of this job role in the next 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days?
Yes.
That's another question I like to ask. That's the second one. And the third question I like to ask, because I like to put people out of their comfort zone, because I always do that. The third question I like to ask is, why do you like working here? Why do you like being in this company? That's another question I like to ask. So those are my questions.
I asked them a lot of times, what don't you like about working here?
Yeah.
Now you might not get an honest answer, but sometimes it's a process or procedure thing. You can put it in the, say you get the job, you put it in the back of your head. How can I improve that process? Because then that's a little fly. That's a little quiver it's a little arrow in your quiver saying, oh, you know what? If I fix this problem for him in my spare time, it's gonna be one notch on my portfolio. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I actually just want to talk here real quick. We got a note here in the chat from Alita Baker saying, "Big Bald Azure Guy, would you say Azure AD is more important to learn than traditional AD now?" I would say equally important. People don't realize Azure AD is huge, but on-prem is still just as large. I mean, yes, a lot of people are moving to the cloud. You will actually see a lot of hybrid models now where they keep things on-prem and in the cloud. So you have to have Azure AD Connect in place, but it's still just as important to learn Active Directory as it is Azure Active Directory. If you're interested in learning more about that, take a look at the new hybrid certifications, the AZ 800 and 801 tests. You come out with a Azure Hybrid Engineer role, I think is what the certificate is. But you can do some really good deep dive stuff on that. But yeah, thanks for the question. I appreciate that.
It's a good question. And people get confused. They think it's the same things, are two separate things. Two separate things.
You would think, I mean, that's the one thing when I first started out, I'm like, wait a minute, if it's just Azure AD now? No, it's two completely different things. They do the same thing in concept, but it's two different things. Let me know when you want to go for these questions here, because there are a ton popping up here.
Yeah, we're gonna get into questions soon.
Yeah.
So can you tell me more about more about your courses? And I know I'm gonna throw this out of the blue. I know you got picked to be a Microsoft MVP, which
I was nominated. This week. Yes.
So congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. It's a 3-month application process. Nothing's been. I'm still have to do the application. But one of our, I don't know if you know him, Dan Ray. Dan Ray's a Microsoft Teams MVP. Dan nominated me. I really appreciate that. And so I have till mid-November to submit my application. I have to track everything I've done for the past 12 months to help out the Azure community. But yeah, I was nominated for an Azure MVP, and not just once, but multiple times. I really appreciate you guys out there showing, I appreciate the support, guys. I really do. What was the question again, brother? I'm sorry.
No worries. I was just asking about the MVP. Like, what's the process? How's that work? Just asking.
Like I said, and I'm going through it now. You have to be nominated first by someone, either at Microsoft or a current MVP. And then there is a 90-day, I think it's 90-day application process where you have to literally track everything you have done for the past 12 months to propagate the enjoyment, the education, the learning, I mean, the promotion of whatever you're specialized in. I mean, for me, it's Azure in general. So that means every LinkedIn post, every YouTube video, everything I've spoken at, conferences, you name it. And thankfully, I had a heads up from some people about 7-8 months ago on what you should be tracking to make it easier. So I have an Excel spreadsheet that tracks everything that I have done for the past 9 months.
Wow.
So hopefully the application process isn't too hard for me. And before what I've heard, it can take another 30 to 60 days after you submit your application to be approved. So I probably won't know at the earliest till 2023, but here's hoping.
Awesome. And then before we get into questions, let me drag my screen over here because I have too much crap open right now. Before we get into questions, let me share my screen.
Yeah.
Give me a second. Uh, do, 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 do.
Oh, I'm seeing my title
Yeah.
on your monitor there.
Yeah, so I'm going to throw this over here. So
Oh,
tell
boy.
me a little bit about your channel.
Well, I'm going through a current rebranding. I did have for a while there about 7 or 8 episodes on cloud career training where I actually picked 10 students. Initially, like I said, I've been a trainer for Linux Academy, A Cloud Guru, who is now Pluralsight. Well, they're A Cloud Guru, a Pluralsight company. I worked for Cloud Skills, owned by Mike Pfeiffer. They have now been purchased by INE. So this was my way of saying, I want to teach people to be in cloud. Look at the 5th. Yep, that one you're over there right now. That is Mike Pfeiffer. That was my first interview. I'm going to be releasing a podcast as well as a complete series and playlist of videos around cloud foundations, what you should know to get into cloud. And then after that, I'm going to be tackling kind of along the ways of like John Saville. I'm going to be tackling individual certification courses. But I also don't ever want to forget foundations. So like I said, this is the 9-10 videos I've already released. You can watch them. They're about an hour to hour and a half long each. I actually had 10 students I requested on LinkedIn. I asked who wants to volunteer to be a guinea pig. I got 250 requests in the first day. Wow. I was shocked. So I picked one of my friends and I picked the other 9 out of a hat. And it was a wide group of people who said, I know nothing about cloud, I know nothing about IT, or I'm experienced. And we just went through the process of how they can really level up their career or move into cloud. And this was fun. I learned a lot. I took a lot of the experience I've had as an Azure career coach and helped a lot of people out. The 5 or 6 who's really stuck with it, they've done great. Most of them have either new jobs or they've gotten new certificates in the past 6 months, which is awesome. But I was always asked, hey, we loved your training courses you did on PowerShell. We loved your training courses you did on Azure back in the day. When are you getting back in that? So I am producing right now. The count is going to be probably 32 5 to 10 minute videos on Azure Foundations. And I'm releasing the first one next week. I'm going to try and release 2 or 3 a week. It's a lot of work to do. And that doesn't count the other fun stuff I'm going to be doing, like a podcast, audio only. As our friend Bernie Ice Tech is like, hey, dude, I want to listen to your voice anytime you can because you got a voice made for radio. Yeah, I have a voice, but not a face. I mean, so it was one of those things. I mean, he's one of our friends over in Johannesburg, South Africa, and I always tease him about that because him and his wife were like, hey, you've got a guaranteed listener in us. I'm like, cool. So just imagine that Darth Vader and Barry White had a love child. That's my voice. There you go. But so I just and tell you what, Kevin, you know how I like to have fun. A lot of my videos, like the guys over Azure Academy, like John Saville Tech, you can tell they love what they do. And the reason I got out of doing professional courses for the big 3, I couldn't do things the way I wanted to do them. They had their own set way. I like to joke around. I like to have anagrams. I like to have diagrams. I have a brand new, let me show you here, Samsung Tab 8 Ultra, which has integrated decks, Microsoft Whiteboard. I'll be doing diagrams during my teaching. I'm going to have a lot of really cool stuff that I'm just figuring out now how to, because when I worked for the big boys, I had an entire support team behind me. So I have to learn all this stuff all over again. And there was like, hey, look, as long as you have fun, you're going to do well. So it's gone very well. I've got about 350 subs now, 100 in the past month because things are just taking off. But once I start releasing the courses here, like I said, the next 3 to 4 days, you're going to see a lot of stuff going out very quickly. And like I said, it's all going to be free. I see people out there saying, oh, do this boot camp or do this boot camp, shell out $5,000. Sign up with this company and give us 10% of your income until you get after you get your first job. No. You know what? And some of them are great. I know people who have their own boot camps who teach them. I highly recommend them. They're good people. Some of them are scam auditors. Some of them are very good professional people. But the biggest thing is, and I'm also going to be launching my Azure career coaching on the side as well, or career coaching in general. If you have to have a plan, I will provide you with those templates. to have that plan. You can schedule
Yeah.
30 minutes with me or 60 minutes with me. I see you do a similar thing on your channel.
I have a paid coaching mentoring plan that people sign up for. Actually, 2 people signed up last night.
Nice.
The person signed up that paid for it like 2 weeks ago. They have a job interview literally next week. I fixed his resume. He's like, Kev, I don't know what you did with my resume, but now people are calling me now. So
that's why I got into this, man, because I want to help other people out. I mean, like you and I both really, we like dealing with, we like figuring out puzzles. We like figuring out problems. We like helping people with their issues. It just came natural for me. I mean, think about it, man. You and I have become very friendly over the past 3 or 4 months. We'd never met in person. Yeah. I consider Dakota one of my good friends. He lives in Oregon. My best friend in the world I've known for 5, 6 years now. We've never met in person, but we talk almost daily. He lives in Kansas City. I mean, it's the way of the world now. I mean, my kids are 14 and 17, and I've moved so much from Jersey to Maryland to Louisiana to California. My kids have friends in almost 10 different states that they still talk to every day. The world is different now. So I don't know where I was going with this because I like to rant.
It's okay.
It's cool, man, because we can do what we enjoy. And like I said, I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it to, hey, if I can pay a bill eventually a month, cool. If I can eventually quit my daytime job and do this full time, hey, great. I'd love to, but that's not what I'm shooting for. I mean, if it turns into that, cool. I'd love it. But that's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I want to make sure that everybody who wants to get into cloud, into IT, and that's why the 9 or 10 of us who talk regularly and have our own channels, we're all in it for the same reason. And we like to help each other out. We like to back each other up. And I appreciate you having me on, man, because this has been really cool.
Yeah, man, no worries. I'm gonna borrow you. Hopefully your wife approves. But I need to borrow you for courses that I want to make courses, because I don't know if you know, but I made some courses already for military veterans in Boots.
That's something I'm supporting that as well. I come from a big military family, so
yeah, I made courses for them, and I gave them a couple of my videos. Like I made from scratch, and I'm working on some more videos for them. So I'm gonna need your help with that, with videos for cloud. And I would love to get you in there, and so we could do, because the way I do things is I like to grab people at whatever they're good at, and then have them help me with certain things. So I want to do something with cloud with you, and then something with Dakota as well about being in management, or talking about PMP, project management, and a few other things. So
whatever you want to help vets out, man, I am all in. I love helping guys come in who are transitioning from military to private citizen stuff now. My father, my father-in-law, my cousins, my uncles, big military family, Navy, Marine Corps, Army, you name it. So whatever I can do to help out, man, let me know.
Yeah, definitely. Let's answer some of these questions. It's like so many questions.
We got a lot coming in, man. This is fun.
Yeah, I see that. All right, let's go all the way up. What do we see? What we got here? Let's see. I know somebody asked a question about if you have a Microsoft Azure certification, is it helpful for as far as taking AWS is concerned? I think they go back 2 and 2 together, right? Like if you know how to do Microsoft Azure, you should be able to know how to navigate AWS a little bit. No,
you can navigate it. Doing it's a bit different. I put it to you this way: cloud is cloud. Let's put it that way. The naming conventions are completely different. Look at DNS. Azure is Azure DNS. AWS is called Route 53. The implementation may be slightly different. We all know the concepts and the principles behind everything are the exact same. A lot of it's terminology. I recommend, if you want to learn the terminology for different things, like I'm an Azure guy through and through, but my company is cloud agnostic. We have a huge AWS and Azure and GCP division for cloud. So I have to be cloud agnostic. So I had to go out and take the AWS Cloud Fundamental Certificate. It didn't take me that long to learn everything because it's mostly memorization at this point, because I know cloud inside and out. But I had to learn all of the terminology. And it wasn't too bad. It took me a couple hours to study up, went and passed the test on my first try. Doing it the first time through anything is tough, but once you know the concepts, it's not too bad.
Yeah, and the thing is that Microsoft gives you a free trial for 12 months with $200. And you just gotta know how to budget that, and just make sure your VM is shut down 100%. Otherwise, you get charged for that. And
AWS is the same thing. There are some things that are free for a lifetime on AWS.
Yeah, like you want to make sure everything's shut off 100%. Make sure you know how to budget
Oh
yourself,
yeah.
because I don't want you paying an arm and a leg. Like, damn, why is it? Why am I being billed $5,000? What happened here?
Yeah, these two Jersey and New York guys told us to turn this stuff on. All of a sudden, I got a bill for $5,000 last month. No, no, and that's also part of what I do when I'm teaching this course here is um, I'm teaching people when they spin these things up how to automate the shutdown, and also how to create a budget so that when you hit a certain threshold in your budget, it shuts down. You don't want surprises, um, whether it's personally, which can really hurt you, or even professionally. I mean, I've been in places that I've come in late to the project and I see they're having excess of $30,000, $40,000 a month in spend. And they're like, well, why is this? Well, you didn't delete you didn't delete your proof of concept and it's still running, and you're still running multiple Azure apps. You're still running AI. You're still running machine learning. You've got 3 TB of storage being used out there in fast access storage, not cold storage. I mean, I'm not going to get into all specifics, but I mean, you have to, part of being a really good cloud admin, even a help desk guy, but all the way up to architect, is knowing cost management and governance. It is key to doing your job properly.
Definitely. There was someone was asking, like, how do I reach out to you for mentoring? So someone in LinkedIn messaged me.
Definitely. Well, I'll tell you what, look me up on my YouTube channel is the Big Bald Azure Guy. And then on LinkedIn, look me up at Corey Knapp, Corey. Last name is Knapp, Knapp. Send me a message in there, connect with me. I will have my Calendly time slots available, along with how to schedule me for either a 30 or 60-minute session for training. Oh, thanks for putting it in chat there, Kevin. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm putting it on LinkedIn and I'm putting it on YouTube just so people have it. There we go.
But yeah, and like I said, things are going to get really big, really fast. I will get back to you ASAP as soon as I can. I'm not deciding on the prices yet, but I mean, I'm not big on charging arm and a leg. I think, Kevin, I've seen your prices. That's kind of around the range of what I'm going to be at. If you're curious what Kevin's prices are, I'll be right on the same thing. The 30-minute session will be very quick intro, some quick advice. If you schedule me for an hour, I'll give you guys a career pathway, a learning pathway, a template to kind of further your career. And even maybe we can even do a quick LinkedIn profile reviews, things like that. And I am also always posting jobs that are available at my company, other companies that are out there. I want you guys to get jobs. There is a lack of really, really good foundational workers out there. I don't care if it's help desk. I don't care if it's pre-sales, post architecture, machine learning, data analysts. There are a lack of really good people out there. We need you.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I know their employees are hungry to learn, hungry to work. So I'm not worried about that. I know if someone gets a job, they're gonna, as they say, Duke Nukem would say, kick ass and chew bubblegum. I'm pretty sure they would.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
I played the original Duke Nukem, man. I'm an old 3.5-inch disc. So
that's this question right here. So, what is your ranking on certs? AWS versus Azure versus Cloud Plus?
Okay. Cloud Plus to me would be last. Still a valuable cert. You don't need it though. It's cloud agnostic, so it's not really a big one out there. I tell people, get certified in what you want to work on, and a lot of times they don't know how to start off with. I think a lot of help desk folks would choose Azure simply because of the fact that they are constantly working with Windows. That's how I got into Azure. I was a Microsoft guy through and through to begin with. Azure is the next logical step because you're dealing with Windows servers. You're dealing with Active Directory, which is now Azure Active Directory. A lot of the learning is just natural for you. Now, the other thing that you can look at too is take a look at where you live. I live in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, just west of the Raleigh Triangle, which is a huge tech sector here on the East Coast. So if you do a search on LinkedIn, you do a search on Indeed, and you just type in AWS or you do a search for Azure, take account of how many jobs pop up. If you are in Minot, North Dakota, and you look it up, well, the Dakotas, believe it or not, are actually a pretty big Azure territory because Microsoft has a lot of offices up there. You might see 3 times as many Azure jobs up there than you do see AWS jobs. So you would obviously want to learn Azure based on your area. If you're in the Silicon Valley, guess what? You can learn anything you want. AWS is king out there, but up in Olympia, Washington, and Puget Sound area, you've got Azure. So the West Coast, you do anything you want. The other thing is, what you hear out there, how remote work is going to end, don't believe it. It's here to stay, guys. It won't be as prevalent as it was over the past 2 years because we do need people in the office to a point. Help desk is one of those things you pretty much need to be in the office for some things, not everything, but some things. But I will tell you, remote work is here to stay. I have worked, like I said, almost the past 10 years, I would say 98% remote. So it can be done. And especially in the cloud, my team, I have people in Chicago, North Carolina, South Carolina, New York, Irvine, California, Olympia, Washington, Dallas, Texas. We are all over the country. We have clients in England. We have clients in Asia. We have clients in China. We have, you name it. It doesn't matter. I mean, my company is a large, $2.5 billion cloud juggernaut. I mean, so we've got, but our cloud group is nice and about 50, 60 people dedicated to cloud on a daily basis. So it's cool. We're a nice group, a family type group, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, I was gonna say this. I was gonna say the same thing, that it depends where you live, because where I live at, they care about cloud certifications for Azure. You have to do some research, like Indeed, Dice, or LinkedIn. See what they're asking for in your area, because it's different in every area. That's one thing. The other thing is, once you figure out what that is, you want to make sure, or you want to see if your job could pay for that certification, because I don't want you spending money. That's number two. And then number three is, what certification do you need in that job right now that's valuable for that job and for that next position in the company, to see if you can get promoted within the company. So that's number three for me. And then number four,
to look at too. Oh, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
No, so I'm gonna go all in now. But number four for me is, I would talk to your hiring manager or whoever you're working with to see if you could shadow the tech that you're working with, whether it's a sysadmin or a cloud engineer, and figure out based on that. Okay, so I see you got the AZ900, and that's how you got this job. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna replicate whatever you did, so I could get promoted for next year. So that's my advice.
I mean, the other thing to look at too is look at your end goal. If your end goal is to become a data analyst or machine learning specialist, you might lean towards Google. That's what they're known for. If you looking to be a site reliability engineer or a web app specialist, you might lean towards AWS. That's what they're known for. So there's different ways to look at it: location, end goal, experience, and not to mention as well, what's the industry you're working in? If you work in gas or energy and oil, you might be an AWS company. If you're working in IT or professional services, you might be an Azure company. So there's a lot of things you can look at to make that choice. But the bottom line is just get started.
I definitely agree with you on that. It's that's what I tell people to do. And funny enough, if you guys don't know, I am affiliated with Coursera, so I have links for certain things. So if you need certain things, like, because I don't know if you guys know, when Meta, Facebook just released a bunch of courses for iOS and Android development, for web development, to be a developer, and they have certifications, and you could connect with hiring managers in Meta right now. And I have links for all that. And that's all there below in the description of this video. So
one little, I think it's in Coursera as well. One little friendly plug I get. Nothing from this. I just love the course. Look up on Google, learning how to learn. It might be on Coursera, or it might be on, I forget who it's on. But if it's been a while since you have been in school, or you just always have trouble taking notes or how to learn properly, it's a quick 8-hour course on different learning techniques, how to study better. It helped me a ton. I hadn't been in school in, 20 years when I started studying again. And I learned a lot just by taking that one course. So I highly recommend that one.
What's Mike
asking here?
Yeah, talking about, is it debating whether you get after the AZ900, debating on AZ104 or 800 long-term goal for being a sysadmin?
Personally, I would grab the AZ104 first. The AZ104 is a really good jack of all trades administrator certificate. That will probably serve you better in the long run. The 800, I think, is more of a specialty, especially if you have a hybrid environment that you're working in now, or that's what you want to lean to. But having that 104, to me, the two foundational certs in Azure are 900 and 104. Those are the two you should have first, unless you're going a completely different direction, like machine learning or Azure development.
Yep. Someone was asking about what programming languages you think would be useful for the next 5 years in cloud.
In cloud, look at Python, look at Golang. On the Azure side, it's always nice to know PowerShell. Look at JSON for ARM templates. look at Bicep is making a pretty big lift right now to be the competitor. And also too, just in general, because it's cloud agnostic. Look at Terraform, folks.
Terraform, yes.
HashiCorp.com. I am learning Terraform now. I'm already a Vault guy. I'm already a console guy. I'm having to learn Terraform because I've been an ARM template guy for years. I taught an entire course on how to create a Azure landing zone using ARM templates with security as code, networking as code, policy as code, the whole deal. Well, Terraform makes it easy to do across platforms, and that's even better.
Yeah, I was gonna say that if you're doing IT support, not regular help desk, something about IT support for Linux, then you're gonna have to know how to do Puppet, Chef, Ansible, Terraform, and they make a lot of good money. They make a shit ton of money, like over 100K. Like I seen Linux support admin roles pay like over 150K to 250K, depending on what you know. But you see Kubernetes, Ansible, Puppet, Chef, bunch of other ones. So
let me tell you what we're hiring at. I was my previous employer. I'm not going to mention names, but my previous employer, I was the Azure infrastructure director for the East Coast, and I was hiring people with AZ900, AZ104, and 2 years of experience, 3 years of experience, and we were bringing people in at 150 a year. So after you've got 5 years in this, I know plenty of folks who are making more than $250 a year. The money is out there. And even as an entry-level Microsoft 365 help desk guy, you can be making 60 to 80 grand a year after 2 certificates and 3 to 4 months of blogging. Show your passion. We love people who love to learn, who want to constantly skill up. That is just because there are not enough people out there who are really passionate about what they do. And that passion will show off in interviews. And typically those people who have that, I'll give them 10% more because we know they're gonna be a great investment.
Yeah, I was gonna say, not to interrupt you, I was gonna say,
no, you're fine.
Help desk pays a lot of money for AWS. So if you know how to troubleshoot, you know how to troubleshoot instances and learning how to navigate the portal and learning how to troubleshoot a customer's cloud issue. Because basically, when you work AWS support, you're basically supporting the infrastructure. You're supporting the user that's using it for their job. So if you know how to do that, you know how to fix that, then you make a lot of money. And they pay about 60K. It goes all the way up to 125K. It depends what you know and your experience. It pays a lot of money. And that's help desk. That's help desk. So
I was working as a level 4 support. And a couple of years ago, I was working as a level 4 support engineer overnights, 10 to 10 overnights, 4 days a week. Now I learned real quick when you're 40, overnights are really tough. I did it in my 20s. I loved it. Now, not so much. I couldn't hack it after about 6 months. I'm like, all right, that's it. I'm done. Because I just couldn't stay awake during the day anymore. I was having rough. I mean, health-wise, I'm like, no, I'm not a young guy anymore. I can't do this. But I was making $200K a year as a level 4 support engineer, working on tickets overnight. The money's out there, guys. It really is.
Definitely. I'm just gonna go to the next question here. Yes, PowerShell is very, very helpful, especially when you're doing Azure. Even in help desk, by the way, you need to know PowerShell. It just makes life so much easier for everyone.
If you can automate some of your processes, it will save you so much time. And PowerShell and Azure CLI are what you want to know to begin with when working with Azure.
Yep. And someone was asking about 104 is more general related towards various directions, you would say?
Yes. It's a jack of all trades, cert. You have to know a little bit about everything. They will test you on everything in that test. I've taken 6, 7 certs in Azure. That was the toughest one I took because it covers so much. I passed my AZ900 in 9.5 minutes. 40 questions, multiple choice. I was in and out in 10 minutes. AZ104, I think I got 3 hours. I took 2:45 to do it in. It was a long, comprehensive test because I got everything from networking to basic security to Azure Kubernetes. You name it. And you have to be, they will test you. They want to make sure you are at a good, solid mid-level in Azure Compute, Azure Storage, Azure Serverless, Azure Networking, policy, governance. It covers a wide gamut of stuff.
And then someone was asking about Microsoft 365 certifications.
I don't have any, but believe it or not, I'm actually chasing them now. I'm taking my MS900 and my MS500 in the next month because we need it for work. But M365, the way to start, if you don't know anything about it, is your MS900. These are all the 900 level tests from Microsoft are foundational, and 98% of them are non-technical. You will learn the vocabulary, you will learn the concepts, you will learn when and how to use things, but not how to implement them. So what I recommend to people is if you want to take a crash course on, hey, is this for me? Go watch something on John Sabwa. Go watch something on my channel next month when it comes out. Watch something like that, but it's a 50,000 foot overview of what is involved. Microsoft 365, you're talking about everything from Teams, Exchange, Windows 10, Windows 11, some Azure Active Directory, Windows Defender. I mean, don't forget, guys, there is the Microsoft 365 series. There is the Azure series. There is the security series, the SC series of tests, which is the SC 200, 300, 400, 900, and now the new 100, which is a cybersecurity architect exam, which I'm hopefully taking soon. There are a ton out there. Plus, there's Microsoft Dynamics, which is like doing ERP systems, CRM systems. There's Power BI. There's Power Platform.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning series. There's new database series. There is a new team series. If I can find it, I'll actually do a quick video about the Microsoft certification roadmap that's out there. There's a beautiful PDF that you can download from Microsoft directly, and it shows you how they all interconnect. It looks like a city map is what it looks like. But it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. There's a lot of neat stuff out there.
Yeah, someone was asking about security. Like, what certs would you recommend for cloud security?
Start off whatever cloud you're going to pick one. If it's AZ, if it's Azure, 900, 104, then go for either the security certs, 200, 300, 400, and 100, or start with the AZ 500, which is the Azure Security Specialist. It's just a general security cert. I do feel they're probably going to phase out that test eventually because a lot of what's covered in the 200, 300, and 400 is in that exam. So I think they're breaking it down by one's an identity test, one's an Azure Sentinel test, one is a security and governance and policy test. They're breaking it out now, but I do think that eventually. But AZ 500 would be great. Yeah, infinite probabilities and saying there in the chat. AZ 500, that's the one to look at. If you're doing AWS, same thing. Look at your Azure Architect Associate, followed by not Azure. Look at your AWS Architect Associate, followed by your AWS Security Specialization.
Makes sense. Someone was asking about the MTA certification. Is it still relevant on their resume? I'm like, it's still relevant on a resume. It's old and outdated, but still relevant on the resume.
It's still relevant. I mean, if that's what you have to rely on, I mean, think about it. Some of the cool stuff out there was the old Microsoft Certified Master certifications, where you would go through a 40-hour training course boot camp, and then you get tested for hours. And there's no longer any Microsoft Certified Master certs out there, but those people who obtain them, they are still the cream of the crop. They haven't existed in probably 8-9 years now. JM's asking here, should I remove them from a resume?
Oh.
If you've only got a handful, keep them on there. If you've got a whole bunch of current certs, you can take them off.
Yep. Yeah, that's the same thing it gets very complicated with resumes, especially with certifications. Another thing is with certs is when you put you're currently studying or something like that on the resume is another thing. So it gets complicated. Like some companies they care about it, some don't care about it. Like it depends on the job and everything. So
exactly.
Let's see here. Is there a cert for Microsoft Server?
There has not been an official cert for a Microsoft Server since 2013. However, the new one, the AZ 800 and 801, is a combination of Azure AD, Hybrid, and Windows Server 2023 or 2022. But yeah, that's probably the closest you will get to it.
So when I guess we should probably do some cloud classes together at some point on my channel, and then I'll go to your channel and I'll cover some other help.
I'd love to, man. Definitely, I'd love to.
Yeah. I don't want to keep you here forever because I got stuff I got to do as well. I'm gonna close out of that. So what's your, I guess, for anyone watching today, what are your final thoughts on everything before we wrap this up?
Yeah.
What do you want to let everyone know here? What's your, I guess, because you're a teacher, you're a mentor, you coach people, you have your own courses, you do cloud, you help people get into IT. I guess what's one piece of advice that you would give someone that's brand new to IT to I guess wrap this up?
Organization is key. You can't do any of it long term without staying organized. Keep your notebooks, take your notes digitally, take them on a notebook. I don't care. What are you going after? Have a plan. My newest thing is this YouTube channel. Well, guess what? I have a plan in effect for how I want to do this. I want my first 1,000 subscribers. I want to release these videos. Keep track of everything you do. If it's as far as certifications, develop a learning path. What courses are going to help me get there? What documentation is going to help me get there? And if you don't know, ask. That's the biggest takeaway I can give you guys. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to reach out. You want to ask me a question or two through chat and LinkedIn, go for it. If you want to spend some time with me and focus on 30, 60 minutes, I'd be glad to set up some time with you guys. We can do some official career coaching. That's fine with me as well. Once I get my links up here shortly, we'll figure things out. And the same thing goes for Kevin, man. I mean, whatever you want for support for your teams, for your guys, let me know, man. I'm here to help you guys out. And I want to make sure that we have the next generation of IT folks well-trained, because there is a big gap between those who just have certs and those who can do the job.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thank you for that advice. I appreciate you for being here. Thank you for doing the interview. I'm going to wrap this up, but I'm going to keep you here for a little bit.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
So, guys, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I hope you guys have a good weekend, a good Saturday. Take care, and hopefully this was helpful for you guys. Bye, guys.